coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
Here's the thing that I learned. People
This is really good.
don't do what you tell them. They do what you ask about. Because what you ask about is what's important.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. My name is Josh Denhart, and I am grateful that you're here. Now, we are taking kind of a new approach these days, and we're doing each month, we're having kind of a ministry focus so that throughout your ministry year, we're touching on all of the 12 big topics that you would need to have your handle on in order to make sure that you're effectively leading and ministering in such a way that you're not ending up doing it alone, that you got a team around you and they love you and they want to be with you. And so we got our good friend Vance Martin here today. Good to see you, buddy.
Josh, good to see you too, man.
Good to see you.
Good to be back.
Always grateful to have you on the podcast. You're my friend, and I love talking with my friends.
It's true.
And so really, in a sense, the podcast is just kind of a microphone between the two of us to have a conversation that we have all the time anyway, right?
Yeah. We were just saying earlier, we should be recording this.
I know.
This is for the podcast, Josh.
Yeah. I was at lunch and we were just on the phone chatting like we normally do. And then you were like, why aren't we recording this? We're stealing our own future thunder. Am I right?
That's right.
Well, let's see if we can recapture it. Well, we're talking this month. The main month focus for this month is all about meetings. If you don't have a handle and you can't successfully navigate meeting with people, you're going to be an extreme disadvantage. And so that's what we're talking about today. So here on the Lead Ministry Podcast, this month is all dedicated to meetings. And today we're talking about one-on-one meetings that work. These are people who are reporting directly to you. They are people who you're going to be meeting with during the week on their time, on your time, one-on-one meetings that work. And I'll tell you what, Vance, there's been times where I've had one-on-one meetings that didn't work, and we're going to cover the things that do work today. Well, if you've been on the podcast with us for any length of time, you know we talk about let's define it, then we're going to develop it, take it a whole bunch deeper, and then we're going to give a call to action for you to actually do it. And so, what is the goal of a one-on-one meeting? Well, the goal, Vance, you have described these as 5 big buckets. This is not necessarily an order that you're going to execute these, but these are the values that you're going to want into a meeting. It spells the word grace for those of you who are not watching this on YouTube. You're maybe listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And it spells, the word is grace, Grace. Talk us through. We're going to touch on each of these at a deeper level, but just give us a flyby.
Yeah, so you're right. These are not in chronological order or the way you would approach it. This is an easy way to remember these 5 elements that are present or should be present in every one-on-one, or even really your approach in a larger way to those that you're leading. But the best way that we see these happening is if we're intentional about pulling in these elements to our regularly scheduled meetings. So it's G, it's an acronym for grace. G is growth, R is resources, A is awareness, C is care, and E is encouragement.
So you need to have those. This is the heart. This is the heart that you need to approach meetings with. I love it that you said that these are the values. This is not the punch list. These are the things that help inform what punch list we need. Hey gang, we hope that you're enjoying today's podcast, and I want to let you know that we have a ton of podcast extras. That's right. You see, this podcast that you're listening to, we have created infographics and team trainings and things that you can do within your very own team meetings that are derived from this podcast. That's right. For $27.95 a month, you not only get the free podcast, but you can get these podcast extras that we've created. Not to mention, you would be able to join every one of our monthly webinars. And these are super deep dives into a massive or major topic in ministry, whether it's how to recruit, how to train, how to retain volunteers, how to lead up to senior leaders, how you can actually dominate with digital ministry in this 21st century way. Gang, listen, you're not going to be left alone. We can come alongside you and stand in the corner with you, providing you these excellent resources. So check it out at leadministry.com. We'd love to have you join today.
Well, this is what, if we're saying, what is the goal? What do we want? What is our overall outcome? You know, we've all heard it said, you know, if you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it every time.
That's right.
And so if you do not have, think about, this is the target for our one-on-one. And what you'll find when you're in a regular rhythm of meeting is that sometimes a meeting may take on a higher level of one of these elements. You may not have time to fit in all 5 of these elements in a meaningful way in every one-on-one. So it's not even that we want to pack all of this in.
I agree.
It's that we want to be intentional about the way that we're approaching the people that we're leading, that we are. The way we have to think about it is, you are a steward. You are a steward. God has stewarded these people to you. And at the end, are they better because they were led by you when that season is done, whether you leave or they leave? Are they better off? Are they a better leader, a better Christ follower, a better husband or wife, a better parent? Because you were intentionally investing in them and made the most of your time together. And I look back early on in my ministry, and probably some now, there's ways that I was not as intentional as I should have been. And as I began to think, okay, how can I really help move the people that I'm leading forward and help them continue to grow in all the aspects of their life? It's really just being intentional. Being intentional.
And so it's these big 5 things that are more the heartbeat, and we're going to touch on each one. So we're going to talk about, how do we meet with grace, GRACE. We're going to go back now and touch on each one at a deeper level. So G stands for growth. Now here's the interesting thing. There is a development piece and there is a coaching piece. Now, development is when you're making a direct investment in them, but coaching is often when you're making a course correction with them.
Yeah. So, think about it in 2 different ways. And there is some overlap here. But I like to think about that development and using that word of investment as, if I'm a wise investor, I want to make an investment of my time and my energy into areas of a leader that are going to give me the greatest rate of return.
For sure.
On that investment. And what I'm looking for in the development piece is, where is this person? Where are they just unnaturally gifted? That they might not even know how gifted they are. And then I can tease this out of them. Josh, do you remember growing up when you'd go over to your friend's house and you'd walk in and your friend's house would have a smell?
Different.
And sometimes it was good and sometimes it was bad, but your friend's house had a smell.
Yeah.
And the truth is, when your friends came over to your house had a smell. And you don't know what your own smell is. You don't know what your own family smell is. And this is what this is calling out, hey, this is something that you can't even see. You don't even know. You're too
used to your own self.
That's right. Your natural state, you're doing this amazing thing that you just think, well, this is the way everybody does it, or this is what's natural to everybody.
Yeah.
No, this is the thing that you don't even know that you are, that supernaturally, this is beyond natural. God has gifted you in a way that gives you an unfair advantage. And how can I help leverage that? And I'm going to put my time in there and call out that greatness in them and continue to propel them forward. So that's the development piece. Where can I make the greatest impact in this person? And they might not even know where that that superpower is that they have.
This actually happened to me today. So I was at a church, half hour, 40 minutes north, and they had brought me in to do a training for them, and it was great. And in the middle of the training, one of the leaders brought up a point that was on topic, but I had another presentation that had the perfect set of slides for this. And it was, of
course you did, Josh.
Right. It was a longer presentation that I was just zoning in on 2 slides because it was going to really punctuate the point that he just made. And so I said, okay, hang on real quick. So I escaped out of the presentation that I was giving. I opened my folders and started to move through my folders to get to this presentation. And there was this little pause as the program was loading. And the senior pastor said, and now every one of us are in amazement of your file structure with which your computer...
You just folder shamed everybody, Josh.
Yeah, folder, right. That's it. And then the youth pastor and the youth assistant and the worship guy were all like, that's exactly what I was thinking. What is going on with this folder structure? And so the funny thing is that that's a great example. That's my smell. It's just like absolutely the way that I live my life, but it was completely abnormal and stood out as an insanity to the rest of these people. By the way, a good insanity where they're like, what is this? Can you do a training on that right now?
Yeah.
To where I didn't even know that was a need because it's just part of who I am. But the interesting thing, Vance, is that I have met with people, and I've got several of them in my mind. And I would say in them, do you have any idea how abnormally awesome this one thing is? And they're like, what? That's not really that big of a deal. And then it's my job, first of all, to notice it, right? It's my job to have the eyes. Okay, what is this movie, National Treasure, right? Where he's got those funny glasses that flip down. He puts the red, he puts the blue, and things pop off the page. I am looking at my people and I'm like, oh my word, there's that super unique thing again. And then I bring that out. And then I now am a gardener, right? And I'm like, I want to cultivate the soil. So that's this development or investment piece, is really finding what somebody is obscenely gifted at, but they themselves don't even really know that that's their thing.
There's a balance to this too. So, both of these are, I would say, on both ends of the spectrum. And we all have it. We all have the things that we are unnaturally gifted at. Mm-hmm. Everybody has it. And we all have the thing that we are naturally deficient in. Mm-hmm. And so we can grow in the supernatural in the thing that we're unnaturally gifted at, but we still have to grow in the things that we are unnatural, that don't come natural to us, that aren't easy for us. And so how do I, a lot of times around in sports, you'll hear, this player, they have a low floor and a high ceiling, or a high floor. And what that essentially means is their floor is the level that they are right now. And their ceiling is how high potential that they could have. And so your development of that investment is, we're looking at how high the potential, their ceiling is, but the coaching is, where is their floor right now? And where does that floor need to raise? Where is it below the standard that we're off course, or it's just not good enough? And so how do we call that out? And this isn't, again, shaming. This is natural. We every one of us have these things where we have deficiencies and we have super efficiencies. And it's helping people, especially, that are in our care, to go, okay, where are the areas that they need some coaching on? That we can just, put in some cardio, do some work. I'm going to coach them up. I'm going to give them tools. And it's never going to be probably the easiest thing for them, but they can become better at it. It can, not lead to frustration or burnout or failure or loss. I'm going to get them to a point. We're going to coach them up to a level that is,
they're going to be better. But the interesting thing is, sometimes even within somebody's superpower, that they need some coaching to go, hey, you're so awesome at this. You don't realize. I had a guy pull me aside one time. He was a pastor, great friend of mine. And he pulled me into an office and he said, hey, I want to tell you something that's going to be very important for the rest of your life. And he was a really good dude. I had a lot of trust with him, right? And he said, you need to understand that your mind moves significantly faster than almost anybody else in the room, that you have an idea and then you go leapfrog, and you've solved it. And everybody else is like, dude, have we even left the starting block? I have no idea what he's talking about. He said, you're super gifted at this, but you're going to need to learn how to. So it was coaching. It was a correction. You're going to need to slow yourself down so that you can actually bring others along and not leave them in the dust. And so in him calling out that I had this superpower, he was correcting me so that my superpower would actually be super helpful.
That's powerful. That's huge.
Powerful.
That's that course correction too, right? We can, like you said, even in our superpower, we can use it. There's two sides to every coin.
Yes, there is.
And typically that sometimes that thing that is our natural strength, it can overpower and it can send us in the wrong direction.
That's exactly right.
We need that correction.
This is the growth piece. And so regardless of where you find to fit this in the lead ministry kind of ecosystem, we have an entire course called Lead Meetings, and we have an exact place that this type of activity is going to go. It's in the prepare section. But let's go on to the next one. So we got GRACE. This is our resource. This is a great one. This is something that we need to have in our meetings. Go ahead.
This is very simple. Resource. What are the resources that we need to accomplish anything? And it's very simple. It's three things. It's time, money, and people. Time, think about a project or something we're working on, or even a paradigm shift, that there are things that just take time. Money. Obviously, we live in a world where
budget.
It's just monetarily, we need things. And then people is, especially in ministry, they are the greatest resource that we have. And again, this is not we didn't use the word commodity. This is a resource. These are kingdom resources that you as the leader often have control over, or at least have influence over. And so it's, what do you need? What the one thing that frustrates me to no end, or has been in the past, is when I've been asked to do something, accomplish a job, but not given all the resources that I need to accomplish it.
I totally understand.
Either not giving me the time, the money, or the people to accomplish it. There's nothing more frustrating.
I agree with that.
And so it's, okay, this is the job, the assignment we've got to accomplish. What do you need? Do you need time, money, or people? Now, often what happens from this part of the conversation is you are helping guide them, because some people, their solution to it will be, I need more people, so if you just give me more money, I can hire them, which is a way to accomplish it. Or you can say, how about we spend some more time and we invest in some people and
we'll bring them up
into this, right?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, this time, money, and people thing is super, super important. And I remember one time that we had a meeting, and it wasn't just a one-on-one. It was actually, we were kind of helping coach and help one of our teammates, and the rest of us, knowing his deficiency and where he was right now and how he wasn't in a position to be successful, we all actually grabbed onto some of our dyed-in-the-wool, true, full-on people who we knew were going to say yes to us, and we sacrificed them and gave them to him and said, hey, call this person and this person. They're an absolute for sure yes. Don't mess this up. You know what I mean? But it's really, in a sense, where are you hamstrung? You have a job to do. You've been tasked with that job. I'm now checking in with you. Do you have the resources that you need? And because I was their boss, I had more of a control over the budget. I had more control over maybe space allocations too. That's another one.
Sure.
Are your Wednesday night, you're crimped in your area, do we need space? So these are all resource things that we can cover with people. These are good things. Okay, we got G, we got R, we got A in our grace little idea here, awareness. I love this one, Vance. What needs to go up and what needs to go down in the communication ladder. In other words, the right hand often doesn't know what the left hand is doing, and we need to have ministry-wide communication. Take her away.
Yeah, so this is really, you can distill this down, and later on we'll talk about the questions that drive this. And so there's really two central questions. It's, what do you need to know, and what do I need to know?
That's it.
And thinking through, being intentional. I'm going to have a one-on-one. What does this person need to know? What are the things that if I don't communicate to them that they might be caught off guard? Remember, you're in meetings that they're not in.
That's right.
And so you're privy to information. Now, it doesn't mean you need to know everything, but what are the things that at the right time they need to know? There is nothing more degrading and feeling undervalued than finding out about some event that's happening next week because it was announced on Sunday morning and your children's ministry person is in children's ministry and they didn't hear it, but everybody else in the entire church hears about it, knows about it, and excited about it. It's just those little things like that. Or vision, things that are shifting and changing with vision or, campaigns or focuses for the year. What do they need to know? And then what do I need to know? And what I found with that question is that gives people a lot of freedom. A lot of time they come to a one-on-one needing to tell you something as their leader that's not very easy, something that sometimes is hard or difficult or weighty, and they've been waiting for the right moment. And there was probably a few moments that passed them by, but they didn't quite have the guts to say it.
Sure.
But this is you essentially giving them, what do I need to know? And that gives them that opening to say, well, here's something that's going on.
Yeah. Well, Vance, I got to tell you, I told my team always, I said, please, whatever you do, don't ever put me in a position that I am left flat-footed. I want you to make sure that you don't like surprises. So if all of a sudden you have some weird interaction with a parent and you think it's probably nothing, but it was a weird enough interaction, you make sure that you let me know ahead of time so that if I get this phone call, I'm like, oh, yes, absolutely, Connie. I completely understand. I heard all about this. Do not leave me caught flat-footed. And I was always trying to reciprocate that with my team to go, here's something that I don't want you to be caught flat-footed on. Here's something that is going to be coming, whatever. So it is communicating to them and them communicating back to us. You're making space for dialogue with your team. All right. Care. Letter C, Grace. This one here is critical. Care. Now, what you wrote for us here, Vance, is it says genuine care that's not a box that's checked. So we talked about this earlier before we clicked record, and I cannot state it strongly enough. I have been in a meeting with a leader who I could tell they were like, okay, so the leader thing to do is to ask them about their life and about their children, but they really didn't care. They were doing it because they knew it was the right robotic leadership move.
Yeah, I think the biggest distinction, I think there is a difference between caring for someone and caring about someone. And you can extend care for someone and not genuinely care about them. That it is something that it's in the leader's playbook that I'm supposed to care about these people and I'm supposed to love them. And this shouldn't be confused with like either. There were people that I have led that I didn't necessarily like. They weren't naturally just people that I would hang out with, but I was responsible for them and to them. And one of the things I had to do is pray, God, Give me a heart for this person. Let me see them as you see them. And what I found over time is that God actually helps create and see the things that, oh, this is why they behave that way. There's some actual pain. There's some actual resiliency here or they were in an unhealthy relationship or a past unhealthy boss, and they've got some coping mechanisms that now I'm the reciprocant of, and this has nothing to do with me, and I need to love them through that. And so it's developing a true love for people, not just I should care about them.
And I should ask him these canned questions. But I got to be honest with you. Now, again, I know people are kind of like, wow, Josh, you're kind of hardcore. Well, I wanted to win at my job and at my ministry. And so I would bring people into my home, right? We would have dinner with people. You're like, you had dinner with your one-on-ones? Are you kidding me? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We brought them to our house. We did social things together. And so it was I would tell people, I'm like, hey man, I know it's a terrible trade, but if you serve with me, you get me and I get you, and I'm going to be all up in your world. And so this is really, really, really important. And people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. Sounds very cheeky and colloquial, but it's the truth. And so we do need to develop care within our meetings. And I have to say, again, I'm going to push pause on this, that within this lead meetings infrastructure that we have in lead ministry, we have some buckets by which it's natural to put this type of ethic into. Because here's the thing, Vance, here's what I've found, that a lot of leaders are like, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. I need to make sure that I'm teaching them about the totality of the pastorate. I need to make sure that I'm communicating up and down. I need to make sure that I care about them. But if they don't have a form into which they can plug in some of these things, they're going to blow it off and forget about it. I myself had to have a punch list of things that I wanted to make sure that I covered, i.e. an agenda. And otherwise I would blow these things off because I'm just not, maybe I wouldn't be so inclined, right? To do the up and the down. It's a prosthetic.
Yes. It's a prosthetic arm. Yes. If you don't have an arm, you need a prosthetic until you grow one.
That's right.
And at some point, you naturally may do these things, but until then, you get a prosthetic arm. That's I think too, right. Josh, I'm just thinking about the people listening to this podcast and even listening to you and I as we're talking. Now, you and I have been in different situations where a lot of the principles that we're talking about, we think about them in terms of staff. Paid people. And I just want to be clear that, yes, that is the case. I think, Josh, you and I both have applied this where these are with staff, but these are principles. These are things that I've used with not just staff, but these are high-level volunteers. Absolutely. These are people. This works if you're at a church of 200 or a church of 20,000. This is how you lead people well. If you've been entrusted a staff, all the more. Absolutely. Why you should double down on these.
I'll say this, Vance. Interestingly enough, what I would tell people, and that this falls right in line with your GRACE, these are the ethics. This is the ethos, the kind of heartbeat. Yes. And I didn't have staff, but I had volunteers that were high capacity volunteers, and I treated them as if they were the staff that I wanted in 5 years. That's lo and behold, I had a staff that was bigger than anybody else's on church, because guess what? I needed to learn the rhythm by which you lead people.
That's right. Because God is a good steward.
Absolutely.
And he's not going to, some of you might be out there, I need staff. Well, are you ready to actually do this and take care of the staff that you were given, that you would take care of them as a true resource of the kingdom?
I can't.
And so why would God entrust you until you've proven I can take care of the people that you've given me that are volunteers?
Couldn't agree more. And I have said to people, I don't think that you would know what to do with the gift of a staff member if you were given one. And they're like, what? And I said, bro, it is an art and it's a science. It is. And so these principles, learning how to even have an effective one-on-one, you can learn that while you have some staff that aren't officially full-time staff. Okay, we got to keep her moving here. Encouragement. E, you're going to point out what they're doing well and lob forward. So in other words, this is kind of, hey, we want you to keep on keeping on in this way. I call this moving toward the applause. Am I right?
Yes. This is the follow-up, where we started this with the investment. This is calling out, this is when you've called out the greatness, you've given that coaching, you've given that correction. This is the follow-up from, hey, I saw when you did this and you did it really well. That's how you reinforce the behaviors that you want. Like you just said, it helps people run towards the applause. We all do it. And so giving them that encouragement. And what this does for me, or how I had to do this, I had, when I would come into a Sunday morning that I'm leading, I had a note on my phone that was just the date of that. And I'm looking for things that are going really well in our ministry, what's going not well. I'm looking for volunteers or my staff doing something that, is really well, and making notes of that so that now when it comes time in this one-on-one that I can shower them with encouragement, saying, this was the way that you handled that parent was absolutely amazing. And so this helps, again, put rocket fuel in that direction of how you want them to behave, what you want them to do. And the lobbing forward concept, this is really encouraging them they may not even see it themselves. Lobbing forward is a lot of, hey, I'll bet you could, or have you ever thought about, you're amazing at. It's calling out something, pushing them towards expanding their mind beyond what it currently is. So you're calling out, continuing to call out that greatness.
And I like the idea that you're taking notes so that you can have something to say later. Because we think in our minds, oh, I'm always going to remember. Nah, not necessarily. Okay,
it has to be specific.
It has to be specific.
If it's not specific, it's just flattery.
Yeah, it's just hey, you did a great job. No, tell them exactly what they did a great job in. Okay, let's land this plane by talking about how we're going to do this, preparing for one-on-ones that work. Well, meet in the right rhythm, whether that's going to be weekly, whether that's going to be every other week, or even if it's going to be monthly, and that all depends on the role that this person may be in. Now, I got to tell you, there were some people that I had one-on-ones, formal and informal, a couple times a week, but there were other people that were every week. So you got to think about what is going to be right in the rhythm. Number 2, have a plan and have them plan. So in other words, I had an agenda. By the way, I never had a meeting legitimately without an agenda. And I was never in a position to demand that an agenda was present or I wouldn't attend the meeting. But if I could be in that, I would do that, right? But there were times where I would always send a meeting agenda at least 24 hours ahead of time, or I would try to. And then I would get feedback from them, clue me in. I don't want to be caught flat-footed even in our meeting. Maybe there's something that you could tell me ahead of time that you want to talk about, and I could almost solve that for you. Now, keep it moving here. Number 3, lead meetings. Okay, how are we going to do this one-on-one thing? Let questions lead the way. Take it away, Vance.
Yeah, so this is really, if you're thinking about, you can have this very, thought out and, okay, now we're going to talk about this.
Sure.
Or you can allow questions. And so I've even given some questions here that help us get to where we need to go. There's you can get a lot more out of asking a question versus making a statement.
I agree.
And so anything that you can say as a statement, you can say as a question, and you're going to get a lot better result. And so again, how do you embody this? It's not like, okay, now we're coming to the care portion of
I get it. Sure.
One-on-one. It's how are you and how are your family? Well, again, what do you need to know? What do I need to know? What are the problems you're trying to solve right now? What do you need from me? What are the updates on past problems and situations? What are you working on right now? Who are you currently developing? Here's the thing that I learned. People
This is really good.
don't do what you tell them. They do what you ask about. Because what you ask about is what's important. We've all been in organizations where there's a vision statement on the wall, but we know that that's not really lived out. And what's asked is, hey, what were your numbers this week? Well, if you asked me that every single week, what that tells me is what's important to my leader, the numbers. If I'm asking people, who are you developing? It's only going to take them one or two times of not having an answer from me where they go, he's going to ask me who I'm developing. Yes. I better come up with an answer. And then if they say, well, I'm not developing anybody right now, then it would be, it's not.
No, that's another question. Yeah, it's another question.
It's, well, why aren't you? Well, I don't have enough time to do. Why don't you have enough time? So it's instead of making statements that often seem accusatory, it's being naturally curious. So a question always assumes and gives the benefit of the doubt. Now, you can ask the same question in a terrible tone. And so this is with an authentic tone, but what it communicates is,
because in a sense,
I care about you. And I want to help you and serve you and support you.
And earlier you said it quite well, that yes, it's a prosthetic until you grow a new limb. And a meeting agenda is kind of a prosthetic. It's kind of a tutor. It's kind of a help. It's kind of a prop you up until you're conditioned yourself to kind of be this kind of leader that asks these high-level, high-capacity questions. Right. Hey, number 4, how do you go about doing this? Start on time. There was nothing that I felt more disrespected about when leaders would have me sitting there waiting and they themselves are showing up late to their very own meeting. So you can't do that. The other one
never
is
cancel, always reschedule. Never cancel. People, always because it's going to happen. Life happens. You're not in complete control of your schedule. Communicate, I'm going to be late, or hey, we need to reschedule. Never cancel, always reschedule.
And I would say also, agreed on this one, watch your time. And so if you've dedicated 50 minutes, 53 and land that plane. If you've scheduled an hour, land the plane.
Each of those segments, because you can get stuck in how is your family and how are things going? Sometimes you're going to need that. But to be able to guide the conversation to, yes, I care about you, but we also have business that we need to get to. And so it's correctly proportioning everything in that setting that you have. And is there something I can kick off to the next meeting? If so, if we need to spend more time on this, that's okay.
And there have been times where on that family piece that we're talking about, I'm like, wow, hey, here's the deal. As soon as this meeting is done, let's go for a walk and talk about that. But during our meeting, this is great. I'm super glad for that information. I'm going to dig deeper into that, but you need to make sure you carry the meeting on, because what you don't want to do is have your meeting be hijacked by the drama and trauma in someone's personal life. Is that important to me? It's very important to me. But I also have other important things that we have to make sure that we can do. And I can circle back with that person. Well, Vance, you're an exceptional leader, and I love that section about asking questions. And, I can learn from that. I am a good question asker, but in my meetings, I think I can get a little rigid sometimes. However, I can put in some of those questions into the logical buckets, because the flow of traffic can be helped with an agenda. Buddy, this is always good. I'm always grateful to be on a call with you or on a podcast with you. Absolutely. Well, gang, this has been just yet one more episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. And I want to say, hey, listen, it is high time. Get it done this month while we're talking about meetings. Figure it out. Grow in grace. Grow in grace with how you can lead other people and be a good steward. All right, gang, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.